Good evening. Welcome to Transitioning into Wholeness. I'm your host, Algerina Pringle, and today we have Summah Lei with me. Hey, Summah.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. Okay, let me share this real quick thing.
And I'm going to share it as well.
So today we're gonna be talking about a broken woman can be healed. What is a broken woman? We're gonna get into that. We're gonna give Miss Summah Lei a chance to tell y'all about herself, tell her how they can reach out to you, your social media handles, or whatever else you want the people to connect
I'm
you with.
sorry. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Hello, guys. My name is Summah Lei. Um, I'm from Manor, South Carolina. You can reach me on Facebook at Summah Lei. I have Instagram, Summah Lei as well. I also have a business page on Facebook that is summerlee.com, and TikTok is Summah Lei as well, if you like TikTok. So
Yes. So, like I said earlier, we're gonna be talking about a broken woman can be healed. The term broken woman syndrome is used to describe a woman who have experienced trauma or abuse or struggling to heal. Some behaviors that may be associated with a broken woman syndrome is needing emotional validation to feel whole, trying to move things forward too quickly, demanding a lot of unwarranted attention and reassurance and love. Does that sound familiar to you, some of you?
it does.
It does.
It
It
does.
does. Yeah. Um, it's six signs of a broken woman syndrome. The first one is she talks like her best days are behind her. She uses others, more success, or exciting friends to validate herself. She lost her driven to a spark, like you just lost it. You know, have no sense of no desires to get nothing done. She talks a lot about people who have hurt or damaged her. She looks to him to be her emotional repairman. She is instantly demands a lot of unwarranted attention, reassurance, and love. How does that sound familiar to you? In what
Dealt
way?
with it all. I dealt with it all, and thankful for it. I can honestly say it's hard to say, but I'm thankful for everything I've been through because it made me a stronger woman. So instead of me being a broken woman, gave me a
Amen.
different title to a stronger
Amen.
woman. So
Yes, yes.
yeah.
So we're gonna pause for a second, y'all. I'm gonna play this clip and we'll be right back. Take a look at this.
It's almost over. You're finally here. You'll finally be free, whispers the voices in my head. You can do it. You can do it. The whispers elevate in sound and frequency. Annoyed with my own conscience, I scream in response to my whispers. Leave me alone. I'm gonna do it. I hear the train coming, so I quickly whisper a prayer. The train is now closer. Here it goes. I'm about to be free. Nobody said life was going to be easy, but for Susan Johnson, it seemed like obstacles were ingrained in her DNA. From addiction to failed relationship, parental neglect, to more heartache than one could imagine. Would this be the end for her, or a start to a new beginning? Available July 15th.
Okay. So yes, so we have the author of that, Miss Summah Lei, here with us, and she's gonna help us get through this so how we broken women can be healed. Tell us about Susan Johnson. What's her characteristics and why she's dealing with brokenness?
So Susan Johnson was a very broken woman. She dealt with drug addiction, domestic violence, child neglect, Any obstacles that you can possibly name, she's dealt with it. And her kids and her brokenness helped her overcome those obstacles that she dealt with. Um, she is probably one of the strongest women that I know. And I'm so thankful that she allowed me to share her story as well as mine, because her story also helped me overcome the brokenness inside. So she is one of my heroes, I can say. And I'm so thankful for her.
Yes. Um, when dealing with the brokenness, how did it affect your relationship with other people closest to you?
Well, with the Susan Johnson story, that's one of the stories of a woman that, that is close to me. But with dealing with my brokenness, I feel like, sometimes we ask God for things, right? And you got to be
Mm-hmm.
careful what you ask for.
Mm.
Because when I asked God to remove everything and everyone that's not for me away from me, He removed some of the people that I love the most.
Amen. Yeah.
He removed a lot of anger. He removed anxiety, and the peace that He gave me, I just is unexplainable. Sometimes I tell my husband, it's like it changed me as a whole, because the things that I would used to do and the things that I used to say and how I would look at life in the past,
Mm-hmm.
it allowed me to love people more. It allowed me to have compassion for people and understand them a lot more. Once when I was young, when I would hear people's stories, I was like, okay, well, they should have did something like this, or they should have did it better, but we
Right.
can't say what a person should do unless we walk in their shoes. So if we
Right.
don't have that same walk in life, you can't really, give the advice or say anything if you've never been through it. So it opened my eyes to face reality
Amen.
and self-evaluate.
Amen. So yeah, so let's dig into it. Let's talk about it. So before what happened before prior to you being broken?
Prior to me being broken, I had a young marriage. So I got married to my high school sweetheart. Um, and to me, it looked like the perfect lifestyle. You know, I had the perfect mother-in-law, father-in-law, and at that time, I thought was the perfect man for me. And the things that we look at, I feel like sometimes when we want something, we
Mm-hmm.
see more than what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted it so much, I saw past everything that was really going on.
Yeah.
So, um, with that being said, my mother-in-law, she's deceased now. My ex-mother-in-law, she was killed by her husband in 2014.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that led to my brokenness,
Mm.
to lose her, because, like I said, I was married to my high school sweetheart, which means that through high school, she was there for me. So
Mm-hmm.
she was part of the reason that I am who I am today. She helped my mom, basically, like, not really say raise me, but my mom had 5 kids, and then my mother was also a foster parent. So she
Mm.
took on burdens of other mothers, as well. So my mother taught me a lot, but my mother-in-law, you always have that one person that teaches you the things that, you
Right.
know, pick up the pieces. So she
Mm-hmm.
taught me, how to cook. She taught me the ways of life. She showed me a lot of guidance. She, to me, was most definitely the perfect mother-in-law. Like, she was like literally my best friend. Um, my like we did everything together. Like, she showed me how to pay bills, because again, I was young. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the things, as being young, I didn't know, because I could call my mom and she'd be like, okay, I'll do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easy, right? But
Right.
then my mother-in-law wasn't having it. She like, listen, I'm not gonna do it for you. You're gonna have to do it yourself.
Okay.
She would take me and we would pay bills together, and she showed me how to be a woman, basically.
Mm. I
And to
see.
lose her, I felt like I was in the days when it happened. Like, I still remember the day, the 10th of August this year made 10 years that she passed away. And that plays in
So
my head.
what age were you when you lost her? You was in high school?
No, I lost her when I was, so I'm 33, 22.
Mm-hmm. So how long you have been
23.
married? How long you and your husband been married then?
We've been married for 2 years.
2 years when you
Yeah,
lost
but
her.
we've been going together for maybe like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that entire time, we built the bond. She became more than a mother-in-law to me. She was actually mother to me. And
Mm-hmm.
to lose her, it was just, I felt like I was in a daze most of the days,
Mm-hmm.
because the day that we lost her, we moved into her house. So when she got killed in the house, we had to go back there. So I had to live in that moment, and I
Mm.
had to deal with everything that happened. I had to, deal with my father-in-law and, him being in jail. And for some reason, the love that I saw for them, I couldn't hate him. Like, I never hated him for what he did. It was always love to me, because my parents never taught hate, so I never knew how to hate. I never knew how to hate a person. Was I angry? Yeah, because she was my best friend. She was my mother. She was my ex-husband's mother, and he was the only child. She had a bond with her siblings that was so strong. Like, she was like the matriarch of their family,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. And that was one of the hardest things in life that I had to deal with. Because a week prior to that, she sat me down
Mm-hmm.
and we had a discussion about her dying. And
Oh
so she
wow.
was telling me, like, she was showing me like pictures, and when something happened to me, I want to go in a white dress and I want to do
Oh.
this. And so I'm like, mother, why? Like, I don't want to talk about that. Why is we discussing it? She was like, because it's something that you need to know. Like, I taught you a lot. So this is something that, I need you to be strong when it happened. I want you to, take care of my son, take care of my husband, because I never had a daughter. So I look at you as my child. So I'm gonna need you to handle the business, not knowing, because see, God knows what's
Mm-hmm.
gonna happen. And
Right.
sometimes when people talk to you, we don't want to listen at that time. So when I was dealing with the situation, I went back to that conversation. And so everything that we needed was already there, because she had the picture, she had the dress, like, she
You've been
told
at
me
ease.
everything. Right.
Yeah.
So it was just like, you know, why me, in a sense? Like,
So they had a abusive relationship prior to the death.
no.
Not that y'all nobody's aware of.
I when I say like, I can't explain it. Like, they were literally like one of the perfect, like, I looked up to them. I looked up to their marriage.
And that's
Um,
where sometimes a lot of times where deception come in, people put on the front
right,
in front of everybody else and seem like everything, oh hey baby this, hey darling that. And then behind closed doors, going through purity hell. So something had to be going on that nobody knows about, maybe just
right,
them, for this man to just come and kill his wife.
right. And that could be, and like you said, that could have been, but she was a private person. So we talked about a lot of things, but I would have never saw it coming. When we got the phone call that night that it happened, and the police, like, when we went to the house, someone called, the neighbor called us. And when the
Mhm.
neighbor called me, she said, y'all need to come home. And in that moment, it was just like a gut wrench feeling, like, because she
Mhm.
didn't sound upset, she didn't sound scared or anything. She just said, I'm gonna need y'all to come home. So I'm like, something don't sound right. And so the whole ride, it was just like a daze, just driving to the house. Then it started pouring down, raining. And then
Mhm.
by the time we actually got to the road, it was like blue lights everywhere. So it was like, okay, something happened. So when we got to the house and the police were asking them, like, what's going on? What happened? And they're like, we can't tell y'all right now, but everybody's standing outside crying, and we're trying to figure out why. So
Mhm.
they was like, a man came in tonight and told us that he killed his wife. So I'm thinking, like, well, who could have been here that did that? Like, why would they do that? Where are my mother and my father-in-law? Not knowing that it was them. So that's
Mhm.
when I say that I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't looking at it. Like, I wouldn't even think that it would have been them. I didn't even think that it could have been them, because that's how much love they had for each other. Like, they remind me of like Michelle Obama, Michelle and Barack. To me, they was my Michelle and Barack, because it was just that their love was beautiful. Their love was beautiful, and of course, we all go through things. but
Mm-hmm.
I've never known for, anything negative or anything like that. Now it could have been, but me personally, I've never known,
Right. Right.
what could
But
have
do
been
you
the
still
issue.
have a relationship with your father-in-law?
Hmm.
Even though I'm sure he's probably incarcerated.
He is, yeah. I had a wonderful relationship with him.
So
He
was
was.
y'all able to talk about it and he was able to explain what happened or what caused him to
He just said
kill
he
his
was
wife?
sorry. He just really said he was sorry. He really just apologized. I really didn't want to go into it because I didn't really, me personally, I didn't really want to know. I
Hmm.
didn't really want to know, because it was already a lot to deal with. And then having to, help my ex-husband plan the funeral and different things like that. Like, it was so much. And then I had to run back and forth to the jailhouse to visit him because, at that time, my ex-husband, he didn't want anything to do with him. So I felt like God
Right.
allowed me to be strong,
Right.
to deal with that situation.
Hmm. Tiffany says what happened behind closed doors, sometimes we never know.
That's a
That is
fact.
that is true.
Right.
That is true. So after this death of your mother-in-law and your father-in-law being incarcerated, how did that affect your marriage?
When I can, like, because me and my mother-in-law was so close, it felt like when she left, my love left for my husband.
Mm.
And why? I don't know. But I still love him. But it was like she was the glue because we were dealing with things,
Mm-hmm.
and our marriage wasn't perfect, but it was as if she was the glue to our marriage.
So
So
it was more so you probably pretty much wasn't in love with him, but you cherished the relationship you had with your mother-in-law.
right,
You looked at her as your own mother, so
right,
you didn't want to lose that relationship with her, so you held on to your marriage.
right.
And when she passed away, everything else fell apart.
Everything fell apart. So it was like, but a part of me felt like it was as if, because remember I told you we had that conversation and she told me like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I need you to take care of my husband and my son. So that's all that played in my mind. So I did what she asked me to do. It was hard, but I done that. Like, I was there for him every step of the way. I dealt with all of the, the things because, like I said, he was the only child, so I didn't want to put too much pressure on him. And then the whole entire time, like, people are saying, like, you got to be strong for him. You got to be strong for him. But I felt like everybody was saying that I needed to be strong for him, but nobody thought about me
Right,
because that was his mother, but that was also my mother too. Like,
right,
she wasn't my birth mom, but she blood wouldn't make it no different when it
right,
came to
right.
her. So, like, once, as like his anger, like, I had pastors to come in and talk because, like I said, we moved into the house that she got killed in. So I had to, blood was still on the floor, and they picked up, they had to pull up most of the floor because she laid there for so long that it kind of like soaked into the floor. So the bullet holes and everything, like, I had to live in that moment.
Mm,
And with me living there, you know how most people say, like, when you're living in a house when somebody dies, you will feel the spirits. But it felt so peaceful to me to be there.
mm-hmm.
It felt so peaceful to be there that I didn't even want to leave the house. So my family and members and everyone would have to come to see me because at that moment I wasn't leaving the house because I didn't want to leave her. That's how I felt.
Right,
Yeah, I
right,
felt like I didn't want to leave her. So I would always be home, and my ex-husband, he would always be gone. And it was like, because we was dealing with it, I didn't look at anything different because I'm thinking that he's gone. He's just not able to deal with the fact that, his mother passed away in his house because this is his mother and this was his house that he lived in since he was a child.
mm-hmm.
So not knowing that the entire time that he was gone, it was somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And not knowing that the somebody else was one of my close friends. So with
Mm,
me dealing with that, I'm hearing rumors and they're telling me, like, my father-in-law was the first person to call me. He called me from prison and he said, well, from jail, I'm sorry, because he wasn't in prison yet. Because mind you, my mother-in-law, this was August that she passed away. So this started
mm-hmm.
in September. So
Mm-hmm.
he called me that September and he said, what is this I'm hearing about, my son dealing with one of your friends? And I'm like, Father, I never heard of that. Like,
Look, them people in jail get it word quicker than we do
quick,
out here on
quicker
the
than,
street.
I'm telling you. And so I'm like, I haven't even heard of that. I don't know what you're talking about. So he was like, oh, okay. That's just something that I heard, not saying that it's true. So as time went on, like I would hear it. And in the moment I'm dealing with my mother-in-law. So it was already a lot on my plate that I wasn't digging for nothing else. Like, it was like, how sometimes it's like, something, but you just don't want to know.
Right.
So I knew, but I didn't know for a fact because I didn't know, but I just didn't even want to know. So my mother came to me and she said, Diane, I hate to tell you this, but something's just not right between them two. So I'm like, Mom, what are you talking about? Because this is the second person.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, confirmation, you got to be careful what you ask for.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my mom, she came to me and she said, baby, because I started crying and I got emotional. I'm like, Mom, I'm already dealing with enough, like, and you just bringing me more. And she started crying and she said, baby, I'm going to tell you something. It's going to hurt me worse than it's going to hurt you when you find out. I'm your mother. I know when something is going on. So as time went on, me and my friend is still hanging together. She's still coming to my house every day. We still being around each other. And then it was just this one day that I went to church and I prayed because I was going to nursing school for medical assistant. And I just asked God, I left it at the altar. I said, God, if it's true, just let it, because I'm tired of, going back and forth, because by then now it's April of the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still hearing the rumors and I'm still, hanging with her and I'm still dealing with this because again, I don't know why or what struck me, but it was just my life. And so by that time, that Sunday that I went to church, I talked to God, I left it at the altar. That Sunday night, I was sitting at my friend's house and we were just talking about, what the pastor was saying at church. And I
Right.
got a phone call. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got a phone call, I answered and he said, hey, my name is such and such and I'm looking for somebody. And I'm like, you got the wrong number, sir. And he said, no, I don't. And I'm like, yes, you do. This is, whoever you're asking for, this is not her. Like, I gave him my name. And he said, man, let me tell you something. What if I told you that God sent me to talk to you and there's a message
Oh.
that I need to give to you?
Oh, wow.
And so I'm looking at my phone and my friend like, put him on speakerphone. So I put him on speakerphone. He said, let me tell you something. You don't know me and I don't know you. He said, but I really feel like it's a message that I need to give to you because it's something that you're searching for and you already know the answer to it. He said, so if you know the answer, if God revealed it to you, what are you going to do? And I said, well, if God revealed it to me, I'm going to deal with it at that time. But when you talking to somebody and a situation, you kind of back away from it because it makes you upset. Like, you don't like, I'm like, sir, you don't know me. Like, you coming at me and you telling me this, but you don't know me.
Right.
But that was only my emotions because I knew what he was saying. God send people to you.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I just asked him to. So I knew what he was saying, where he was getting at. So he
Mm-hmm.
said, well, I'm going to tell you this. If God reveals to you what you want to know, he said, do you promise me you're going to leave? And I said, yeah, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave my husband because I can't deal with it. He said, well, what you need to do is leave because if you don't, by the end of the year, the same thing that happened in the house that you live in is going to happen to you.
Oh, wow.
And so he said, like, I'm just sensing that you have a sweet spirit. And I don't understand why you're dealing with this, but this is going to be a testimony for you. And me and my friend was just sitting there and we was listening. And I was like, I appreciate you calling me and giving me this information. And we got more into depth into the conversation. And he said, you never wonder why you was going to the doctor and getting tested to find out if you could have kids. You never wonder why you couldn't. And I said, yeah, I mean, because the doctor told me, my mom had 5 kids and nothing wrong with me. I had ultrasounds, vaginal ultrasounds and all different things to try to figure out, like, why am I not getting pregnant by this man? Like, I really want a baby. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, because it's not meant for you.
Mm.
Like, you're going to have a baby, but not with him. It's
Mm.
not meant for you. And so that Monday, I went to do my clinicals because like I said, I was at the end of my medical assistant and I had clinicals that Monday. And that Monday, I got the phone call from my friend and she told me that she apologized that what I was hearing was true.
Wow.
Yeah. And at that moment, it was like a healing, like it was like a burden that lifted off of me. Because for all of these months, I questioned it. I wanted to know. And now that it's here, like I said, like you gotta be
What you
careful
gonna
when
do
you
with
ask
it?
God for
Right.
something.
What you gonna do with
What
it?
am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Like, And so I talked to the nurse that was there, and I asked her, I was like, listen, I just got to leave. Like, I just found some horrible news. I'm dealing with a whole lot. So can I just be excused for this day? And she said, yeah, you can be excused. So I found him. And when I found him, I told him, like, listen, she told me that it was true. And he couldn't do nothing but, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I dealt with it. I was dealing with a lot with my mom. But even within, I never hated him. Because even, we all make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
We all make mistakes. And
Right.
was it a mistake with my friend? Probably not.
Right.
But like I said, I could never hate because I was never taught hate. That's something that you have to be taught. And when I felt like it was just so much, he told me, he said, it's hard for me to deal with you because you remind me too much of my mom.
Mm.
So with him saying that, like, it wasn't an excuse, but like I said, I learned to understand people. And maybe it just wasn't meant. The marriage probably wasn't meant from the
And
beginning.
accept it for what it is.
Yeah, and I had to, and that's what I did. I accepted. I even told him I can't be with you, but I accept your apology, and I pray that God, give you the strength to deal, move on and deal with the things that you're going to have to deal with moving forward.
And a lot of times when we want something so bad and we don't get what we want when we want it, we be so upset with God trying to figure out. Now, to this day, you probably thanking God you didn't get pregnant when you wanted to get pregnant. You didn't have kids when you wanted to have children.
Right.
We be so caught up in, I want a baby now. I'm ready to have it.
And that's how
But
I
God,
was. That's exactly how I was. Like, and the doctors is like, why do you think what is wrong? Like, why do you think? Because I'm like, can you check me again? Like, can you check going to the doctor? Like, something got to be wrong because I'm not preventing it. But it was God, it wasn't meant for me.
right.
And even with marriages, I feel like nowadays people don't, treat marriages as love, like as commitment. It's a trend nowadays because now everybody want to be married. And sometimes if we don't wait on God to send the person for us, we rush into the person that we think is for us.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's what I did.
Absolutely. And even though you find that out, now if you had to decide to just stay in there and want to work it out, you wouldn't have no peace. No, and that's where a lot of relationships we tend to stay. We know we need to go,
Right.
but we're comfortable, and we just want to stay there. But you ain't got no peace of mind.
None.
No peace of mind. Tiffany said, "God save us from ourselves so many times,"
and He does. Yep, He does, because we, like you said it. They say when a man find a wife, he find a good thing. And sometimes us as women, we go searching for the man, and that's the first mistake.
Right.
That's the first mistake, because it says when a man find a wife, not when a wife find a man.
Right.
So I feel like sometimes we search for love and we want it so bad till we deal with anything. And and with us being women, we are natural nurturers. So we tend to take on the toll of everything and everyone. And we look past a lot of things that's not for us for love. For what we think is love. Yeah, for what we think is love. And we deal with it because we're scared of what people are going to say. I just got married. I'm embarrassed. Like, how am I going to leave him? He just lost his mom, and that's what came to me a lot. Like, a lot of people would come to me like, people make mistakes. He just lost his mom. Give him a second chance, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, but still, what about me?
What about me? And that's the net. You've been dealing with the grieving from your mother-in-law, but everybody was thinking about him.
Right.
Now you're dealing with the infidelity, and everybody's still thinking about
him. Thinking about him.
So where did that drive you next? So now you still grieving. Now you got infidelity on top of the grieving. What did that lead you to?
So one day, I was working. I was at work one day, and trying to just in the same community, because again, I'm still dealing with the death of my mother-in-law. So people are coming at my job, they're questioning, and it was so overwhelming. So one day I was at work, And I had one of my long lost friends that was a guy that used to be my best friend growing up. Mm-hmm. And we were talking, we was having a conversation, and he said, well, you know, this was maybe about 2 or 3 months later. He said, well, you know, here's my number, because, you know, I'm dealing with something too, and I heard that you was dealing with it, and I want you to know that you're not alone. And mind you, he was my best friend growing up. So I'm like, wow, you know, the minute that he walked out, I passed out. Like, as soon as he walked out, I passed out. And I don't even really remember what happened in that moment. But I remember my boss coming in the bathroom, and I remember my mom and my brother came in the bathroom, and he picked me up and they took me to the hospital. And when they took me to the hospital, I felt like that was just the end for me. Like, I didn't want to live anymore. Like, it was just so much going on. I was so embarrassed. I was shamed. I was hurt. I was fighting depression because I was gone by this time. I had already left them. So I'm living with my parents, and, you know, with me being with him, I had a car, you know, I had, you know, a house because my mother-in-law left him all this stuff. So I went from being, you know, from living this life to having nothing at all, to starting back over, because I moved out with him when I was 18, and we had our own place. So I had to live with my parents from 18 to 23 because I was with him. So now I'm starting back over from scratch. Now I got to figure out life from here. So when I went to the hospital, it was this nurse, and the doctor came in. He was like, she's having a real bad anxiety attack. And I couldn't say nothing. I couldn't talk. I could just hear everybody talking. And he said, well, what we're going to do is look for her a bed in the mental institution. We're going to call and see if there's a bed there that we can just take her there and give her a break, you know, because it's something going on with her and she just needs a break. And so the nurse said, do you want to go? And I remember shaking my head, yes. And my mom started praying. She was like, you know, the devil is a lie. I remember her praying, you're not going there. And this is not. So the nurse told me, she said, let me tell you something. I don't know what you're going through, but I know that you're a beautiful woman. And I just feel that you have a beautiful spirit. You don't want to go there. And I'm shaking my head like, yes, I do. Couldn't say nothing, but yes, I do, because I just wanted a break. I just needed a break real quick, because with being in the same town and everybody's coming at me, and, you know, like I said, I lost so many friends and family members behind this, because when it happened, it kind of separated me from the friends that I had. So it was like I was losing everybody. Everybody was just dropping like flies. And now I'm like, well, God, what did I do wrong? Like, why am I losing everybody? Why is everybody against me?
Right.
And I did nothing wrong. So that took a toll on me. So when my friend walked in there that day, I don't know what it was. I don't know if God sent him to me, but it was just like, that was the day that I wanted to give it up, like give everything up. Like, I just wanted a break from life. And with talking to that nurse that day, it just, I don't know what it did to me, but it did something inside of me. And then I woke up the next morning, I felt refreshed. I just felt like it was a burden lifted. And then I had to figure out who I was, because for so long I was living this lifestyle to please everybody that I wasn't pleasing myself. Right. I was doing things to please people, but it wasn't pleasing the inner me. I didn't really know who I was, because I was stuck in this relationship for so long, and I'm dealing with this guy for so long, that I was so into him that I was forgetting that I lost myself.
Yeah.
So with losing myself, I had to start back over. You know, I started going to church a lot more, because sometimes even with losing ourselves, we stray away from God. And that's another mistake. I wasn't going to church like I grew up in church my entire life, but I kind of slipped away from church because like I was so into this man. So I'm doing whatever he wanted me to do. I'm going to places that he wanted me to go. So the day that my friend walked in there, which is now my husband, every day, I can honestly say he never told me to leave. He always told me, like, you know, if this is if you want to go back to your husband and you want to be with him, don't allow nobody to stop you from doing that. But you also got to love you too. You got to know what you settle for is what you're going to settle for, and that's how your life is going to be moving forward. But you also got to know that you're beautiful inside, because sometimes we feel like when we lose a person, they was the prize, but you're the prize. And every day I would get, you know, text messages, I would get quotes and different things like that from him. Encouraging. And with him even going through a divorce himself, which amazed me, because it's like you trying to, you know, lift my spirit up, but you're hurting in the inside too.
Wow.
So I felt like our pain brought us so much closer together. It wasn't anything that was forced. And this is the man who found me, because like I said, he came to my job. I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking. He came
Right.
to me, not even thinking. And my sister told me, she said, I think y'all will be good. I said, and then I flipped on my sister. I said, listen, I'm not thinking about no man right now. You done see everything. You saw everything I've been through. You talking about you think I'd be good for this man, knowing that that I just left a man.
Right.
And so she was right. Like, he has been, when I say he has probably been one of the biggest blessings to me. Like, I can be myself. I'm so much at peace. He's God fearing, and that's something that I needed.
Yes.
Like, he even gave me a different outcome, like as far as the Bible and the way that we interpretate the Bible. Like, he broke it down to me a little bit more, and I was able to understand it. And like, now he's like my best friend.
That's
And
amazing.
this marriage, I felt like, is so different because it wasn't me trying to please a man.
Mm-hmm.
It was me loving me first. And we were friends first. And he told me, he said, listen, we're not ready for a relationship. I just want you to heal. I just want to be here for you while you heal. And if it gets to
Okay.
that,
Go
we'll
ahead.
focus on that later on. But you need to heal for you.
Mm.
And I wasn't accepting it because, this has been months, almost a year later. And I'm like, listen, I'm ready for a relationship again. I don't want to be alone. But he told me, like, listen, you're not ready for a relationship. You have to heal completely. And I need to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not ready for a relationship. But whenever I'm ready, if you wait for me, I'll make it worth your while. And I never had a man to come to me and
Mm-hmm.
keep it real with me and be honest with me. Because
Yeah.
most men, they're going to try to, have their cake and eat it too, and keep you, play
Right.
with you and keep you in the loop just because this is what they wanted to do.
Right.
But for him to be honest with me and for him to tell me to heal and love myself first, that kind of gave me, confirmation. Like, you know what? I maybe I do need to figure out who I want to be. So
Mm-hmm.
in my healing process, I used to go sit by the water a lot and just cry. Like, one day I even went to my ex-mother-in-law grave and I just needed to talk to her. Like, I needed that moment
Right.
because I felt like I still, even though I went through what I went through with my husband, I still felt bad for leaving him because I promised her that I was going to take care of him. So that was one of the biggest things that I dealt with. Like, I made her a promise and I'm not able to fulfill it. But what about me?
Right.
So what do
Definitely.
I do? So I went to her grave one night and I just cried and I talked to her and I was like, I'm sorry, but I got to put me first. But then as I'm sitting there, it was one thing that she told me a while ago. And she told me before, when me and my ex-husband got into it, she said, you don't have to be with my son. I'm going to still always love you as my daughter. And in that moment of me sitting there,
You heard
I
that.
heard that voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I needed to move on. I needed that closure to move on. And ever since then, I mean, when I say God, when he removed the people out of my life, it was a hurtful thing because, like I said, it was people that I love. It was people that I would do anything for. Friends that I've been friends with for so long. And now he replaced those people with people that are for me, with people that actually love me. He gave me friends that, that stand by the meaning of friendship. He gave me a husband that is really a husband. He
Mm.
gave me another mother-in-law that is just as great. So it's like all of the things that I lost, God replaced them with
Yes.
better,
Better. He always give us better.
with
As
better.
long
And
as we
I
follow in the line with him, he'll definitely always give us better. So
right.
before you start losing yourself, and before the people start falling off, before the anxiety attack, before the infidelity, before the murder, where your father-in-law murdered your mother-in-law. How was your childhood growing up?
My childhood, when I say everybody say their parents are the best, but I just feel like mine are the best. I grew up with a big family. I always like to say I grew up in a family of love. My parents, from what they came from all the things that they've been through, I just felt like the things that they took on people burdens. Like growing up, it was my four of my siblings and me, and then my mother took care of my grandmother, and she also took care of my uncle with autism. Not only did she take care of them, it could be people that we could meet that didn't have a house. She took care of them too. Like it would be a time where it would be a family. We living in a 3-bedroom home, and it was a family that my mom just met that they didn't have anywhere to go. So now we're moving our kitchen table for this family to sleep in our home. So when I say I had a wonderful childhood, I'm thankful for my parents because they taught me love and they taught me God and they kept me into church, which also helped me get through what I went through. Because had I not grew up in a family of love and had I not had God, there's no telling how that situation would have went. So I felt like their strength gave me the strength to deal with the things that I faced. And then with growing up, I was always I was the youngest. So I used to always pray this prayer to God to never let my siblings go through anything. Allow me to go through it. Allow me, them to see me, be strong and allow my strength to be able to endure the things that they don't have to. And see, with me praying that prayer, it happened. That's why we got to be
Be
careful
careful.
with what we pray for, because I love my siblings so much that I never wanted to see them hurt, that I was willing to bear
take
their burdens.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a wake-up call, and it was a testimony, not just to me, to them, because they was there every step of the way with me while I went through what I went through.
Amen. Yes. So y'all, she has this book, A Broken Woman Can Be Fixed. There is it on the screen. And we're gonna play the trailer one more time. And then she's gonna tell us about this trailer clip.
It's almost over. You're finally here. You'll finally be free, whispers the voices in my head. You can do it. You can do it. The whispers elevate in sound and frequency. Annoyed with my own conscience, I scream in response to my whispers. Leave me alone. I'm gonna do it. I hear the train coming, so I quickly whisper a prayer. The train is now closer. Here it goes. I'm about to be free. Nobody said life was going to be easy, but for Susan Johnson, it seemed like obstacles were ingrained in her DNA. From addiction to failed relationship, parental neglect, to more heartache than one could imagine. Would this be the end for her, or a start to a new beginning? Available July 5th. It's all.
Yeah, so give us some, tell us about it. The addictions.
Yes. So with Susan Johnson, like I said, she was my mother, I could say, because she gave me the permission. At first, they didn't want me to, go into the detail, but my mother, she dealt with drug addiction in her early 20s. And with her dealing with the drug addiction, it kind of cost her children, because like I said, I'm the baby of 5 children. So my grandmother had custody of them because, back in the days, and even still now, when you're on drugs, they don't allow you to keep your kids. So my grandma was able to take the kids in, and my parents, my mom and dad was, together. And then she said that it was this one night that someone gave her some bad drugs. And when they gave her the bad drugs, it caused her to hallucinate. And she heard people talking to her. And so she said she took this long walk. She was walking all night. And she went to a train station. And when she went to the train station, the train was coming and she jumped. Wow. And when she jumped, she felt something push her back. And when it pushed her back and she got up, the train had already went past. And when she looked around, no one was there. So she said when she walked up out of the train station, it was a rehabilitation center right across the street. So that's when she knew that, like, this is a wake up call. So she said she signed herself up for rehab, and when she signed herself up, she had to get all these tests, and they was drawing her blood and doing all of this. So she said the first thing they did was fed her, and when they fed her, they played a video of children that's on drugs. And so she said when they was playing this video and she watching this video and she's crying, and so she said she asked them like, why are y'all showing me this video? And they said, ma'am, we're showing you this video because you're pregnant, and we
Mm.
want to let you know that this could be your child if you continue to move forward. And at the time, that's when she found out she was pregnant with me. Now
Ooh.
before that, my father doesn't have any daughters, but they had just had a stillborn, which was my sister, and her name was Lisa, a couple of months prior to that. So her drug binge was her dealing with the fact that she had just lost her daughter. Now my mom had a daughter, but my dad
Mhm.
didn't. So her drug binge was dealing with the fact that she just lost her daughter, and she said that she would hear babies cry at night. So that kind of like triggered her to
Mhm.
go back to drugs or whatever. And so my dad told me, he said he prayed and he prayed and he asked God, like, God, just please send me another daughter, and I want her to look just like my wife. So she said she didn't want, when she saw those videos of how kids was on drugs, she didn't want that for me.
Mhm.
And she didn't even know that I was her daughter that she wanted, but because she didn't find out that I was a girl until she had
Right.
me. But all
Right.
she knew is that she didn't want to move forward with with hurting her baby by drugs. So she had to make a decision that day. And from that day forward, she stayed into rehab her whole entire 9 months with me
Mm.
until she had me. And she
Wow.
hasn't done drugs ever since.
Mm. That is a blessing. Child, that's a so you were fighting coming in this world.
I'm telling you, we never know. We never look like what we've been through. Not even knowing that I had a whole story ahead of me.
A
So,
story before you even got here.
right. And that's what drew me to write the book, because I didn't know that story. And so
Mhm.
one day I was just sitting down after I dealt with everything I dealt with, and I was just sitting down, and my mom told me, and I'm like, Mom, really? And my dad was like, yeah, yeah, that's what she dealt with. Like, and he said, baby, I prayed for you. I asked God. He said, because after we lost my first daughter, that was my only daughter, because I got
Mhm.
5 boys and I didn't have any daughters. And I prayed, and when we lost her, it just did something to us. So I prayed and asked God for another daughter, and He gave me you. But we didn't find out that you was a girl until she was pregnant, till she had you.
Right.
And so that changed their perspective of life, because I got what I asked God for. I asked God for my daughter. So now I really have to change and do the right thing, because this is what I asked for. Is
So
what
after
it
your mother had you, she was released from the center.
Once my mom had me, she was released. My dad came and picked her up, and we moved in with my grandfather.
Mhm.
And she had to take classes and go through all of that to get my other siblings back, because it was just me at the time, because she there was no drugs in her system, so she didn't lose me, because
Mhm.
she was in rehab the whole time. So we stayed with my grandfather for a while. My mom said we moved in with my granddad, and then my granddad went and got them a place, and he had it fully furnished. I had everything I needed, and she took classes and she worked on getting my siblings back.
And she
And
got them
that's
all
what we
back.
Yep. And that's when we moved down here, down
That's
south.
amazing. Got all the siblings back, everybody back. How did that make? Well, you ain't even know. You ain't know what was going on.
But she said that it was like, a life lesson for her,
Mhm.
because if she would have chose drugs, then we probably would have been separated.
Right.
And we probably would have never been down south. And we're originally from Philadelphia, and it's bad there. And so she
Mhm.
said that she didn't even want to move down south, but she didn't want us to deal with the life that she did.
Mhm.
So she wanted better for us. So how they found man in South Carolina, I have no idea. I still ask to this day. I still ask to this day, but it was a blessing. I can honestly say, for my parents, it was a true blessing, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for it all.
That's amazing, amazing, amazing testimony, and that's a lot to be deal with, to even have to deal with, you know. But when you came into this world, like we all do, we come into a world of sin.
Hmm.
We know what we facing when we enter into this world.
Right.
It's just how we just accept what it is that is before us.
Right.
But it's how we get through it. And as long as we know learn about this man named God,
Mm-hmm.
stay connected and stay close to him, we can get through anything.
That's
Anything.
fact. That is a fact. I truly believe it. And that's why, with me going through what I went through, like, it allowed me to love people more. It allowed me to be able to speak to women. Because, like I said, us as women, we put so many people before us. Our children, we put our mate before us. We'll even put friends before us.
Mm-hmm.
But we never sit back and think about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I do tell a lot of people, that because I don't know, people just come to me, and I talk to so many people, even in the middle of the night, I'll have people write me and just, want to tell me their life story and ask me, how do I feel? And like I always would tell people, I can't tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can only give you my experience and how I dealt with what I dealt with. And with me dealing with what I dealt with, I had to learn to love me. I had to learn to be selfish with me. And it's okay to be selfish and love yourself. Because if you never do, you'll never know you.
Amen.
So self-love is very important.
Very important.
It's very important to, figure out what we are, who we are, what we want out of life, and we have to execute it, because God give us all a purpose. And we're all here for a reason. And we have to live in our purpose. And it was very hard for me to, tell my story. I remember the first time I did a podcast to tell the story. It was very hard, but if I don't tell it, I'm sitting on the testimony that somebody else is dealing with probably the same thing.
The same thing.
And I had to be brave enough to, tell my story to try to help else.
Yes, yes, yeah. We overcome by our testimony.
Yeah.
When you able to talk about it, that's true healing.
Yeah.
That's true healing. When we get to the point, like, we didn't want to talk about it, it's either because you shame, you embarrassed.
Right.
When you get to the point where you can talk about it, that's true healing. That is what you call true healing. Or you still dealing with it. That pain. Like I was telling you earlier when I about writing a book or whatever. I'm like, child, I didn't want to start writing because I might be sitting on somebody's couch. But you say no.
But really though, like counseling, I feel like even within our community, as the Black community, like growing up, they're always telling us what you go through in your house, you keep it to yourself. And counseling wasn't something that was brought to us. We didn't hear about counseling, me personally, until I was older, because I was raised by my grandmother and my mother, so they kind of raised me old school. So I never really heard of counseling or even talked about it. But I feel like counseling is something that people need. And counseling can be different ways. Like me writing my book was my personal counseling, because it's all out there, and I'm not ashamed of it, and I've overcome it, and I've healed from it.
And so now you helping others heal.
Yeah.
And now you helping others heal.
Right.
Through your trials.
Right.
And that's what they're for. That's what they're for. We go through stuff to help other people. Right. We don't realize it while we're going through it, but at the end, when you overcome it and see the other side, be like, oh, I can help you with that.
Right. I thank God for peace. I really do. I can't even explain the peace. Like I'm just so thankful for it. Like I'm so much of a better person. I don't let things worry me. Like, in the Bible it say you walk through the valleys of the shadow of death and you fear no evil. I fear no evil. Like even through things that, we go through in life, like it's all peace. It's all love. Like there's no hate. Like even with, me going through what I went through, I don't hate. I was able to sit down and talk to my friend and tell her that I love her. Not too long ago. This recently happened after 10 years of going through it. It just recently happened. And, and I do love her and I forgive her, because I don't hate you. We were young. We went through what we went through, and that's just that. And I left it there because I've healed from it. So I'm able to face you. Now, 10 years ago, could I say that? No.
Right.
But in order to move forward, we have to forgive.
Oh, yes.
And I don't want, I never wanted anybody to feel like I was upset with them or I didn't forgive them, because it's still all love. And it's just something that I had to go through. And I'm thankful that I did, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have been living the life that I'm living now. I wouldn't have the people that I have now. I wouldn't have the love that I have now, or the peace.
Right.
Or the God.
Right.
You know, so we can't look at it as being all bad, even though it sounds like a bad situation. It was just right for me,
In the
and it was
Bible,
just
God
right.
said, count it all joy.
And I do.
Count it all joy. And we take that scripture so lightly. When he say count, he didn't just say count the good things all joy. He don't say count all bad things all joy. He said count it all joy.
Right.
So whatever it is you're going through, count it all joy.
Amen. I agree with
Amen.
that.
Well, Miss Summah Lei, we thank you so much for joining us on tonight.
Thank you for having
What
me.
can you encourage this one person that may be going through some infidelity or having suicidal thoughts, even dealing with someone that murdered someone they love close to them? How can you encourage them tonight before we leave?
I would say seek God, um, because you always have to remember God is the reason for all things. And if you really seek him and you really ask him, he'll do it for you. Now, you can't expect him to do it today. You can't expect him to do it tomorrow, but he'll do it for you. He's always on time. And then you always got to remember what you're going through is someone out there that's going through something way worse.
Mhm.
So it's probably a glimpse that you're going through that is somebody that's out there that's dealing with a heavy load. And I will also say love yourself. Self-love is very important. And if you love yourself and you seek the true love inside of you, then it'll help you get to the next step in life.
And I definitely agree with that. That self-love, that's something I'm on big right now.
Yes.
That self-care and self-love. I mean, once you get into it and go deep into it, it's a whole nother level.
Right. Very
And not
important.
only for yourself, that it draws you closer to God.
And the people that you love around you. Because when you love yourself, when like I say, when God is for you, who can be against you?
Mm-hmm.
When you love yourself, who could be against you? They can put rumors out about you. They can
Yeah.
spread lies out about you. But when you know who you are,
Mm.
that's not even gonna phase you. When you know who you are and you know who your master is and you know who you deal with, those things are not gonna phase you.
Mm-mm.
And search for peace
Yes.
that pass all understanding.
Yes. Definitely. That's when you're at new levels.
Yes.
New levels. Again, we thank you, Miss Summah Lei, for joining us, telling us your story, encouraging us on tonight. Have a blessed night. Until next time, y'all, we will see y'all later.
Thank you.